Welcome to the Australian Business Executive Podcast, where we speak with many of Australia's most influential personalities on issues of business and economic development taking place across the country. You can stay up to date with our magazines, videos and podcasts by visiting www.theabe.tv and clicking on subscribe.
Our guest today is Tom Griffith, one half of the partnership that makes up Emma and Tom's, known for their range of fantastic tasting, all-natural, minimally processed whole fruit juices and snack bars. Before launching the Emma and Tom's brand more than 12 years ago, Tom had a successful career as a CFO and corporate advisor with experience both domestically and internationally. Since the company's foundation in 2004, the brand has grown to sell through more than 3,500 cafes and delis, as well as Australia's major grocery retailers. Tom, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Stuart.
My first question for you is, prior to launching Emma and Tom's, you had a successful career as an executive. You had a successful executive career. Why did you make the decision to start from scratch by launching juice products in a very competitive drink market?
Yeah, it sounds like madness, I agree. I'd basically changed my life twice prior to that. I'd left Australia and gone to the UK and started completely fresh in a whole new market in corporate advisory. So then I'd basically left the UK after 7 years there working in London and France and wanted a change again. Emma and I had discussed starting a business, not necessarily together, but we'd been friends for a long time. And I was skiing in North America and drinking these green juices in the gondola every morning going up towards the High Alpine. And having worked with Pernod Ricard, which is branded drinks, a French conglomerate in the UK and Paris, and I'd also done a London startup, so I had drinks brands and startups on my brain. I thought, this is it. No one's doing this in Australia. It's a great product. It suits all sort of age groups and lifestyles. It's healthy. And we decided that was going to be our passion.
Well, what were the shocks you experienced from having the security of a corporate structure around you to becoming a startup entrepreneur?
All of them. We didn't really appreciate fully that we're coming from big corporates. And as a result, doing a startup, there's no IT help desk. There's nothing. You do it. It's your problem. And that was a little bit of a shock at first until we got our heads around it. Now it's just obviously de rigueur, day to day. But that's also the reason why we wanted to do it, because it's your gig. You're in control, you make decisions, and you create what you want to create.
Well, take us through the process of going out and finding a customer base to sell to.
Well, we took a year to get the whole business started, because we started from scratch. So we had to go and find out who makes bottles and who fills bottles and who makes labels and who sells commercial quantities of fruit. And having done all that, we had driven around Melbourne and Sydney and basically compiled a hit list of good retailers based upon their sort of volume or their location or whether they were super trendy, etc. And so once we had bottled our first run of juice, we had 8,000 bottles and no customers. So we raced around Melbourne and Sydney trying to sell it into all these great accounts we'd identified.
Well, my next question for you is, where is your product positioning and how have you found the cross-promotion of your newer food lines?
When we started, our main sort of, I suppose, brand attribute was being straight up. It is what it is. Our labels were clear. We called it after ourselves because we were the founders and we wanted to use our weakness being just Emma and Tom versus the very large multinationals as our strength. And all the ingredients were real. Everything's real. And I think today the word consumers would identify with the brand is it's real. And they know now, confident of this. When people see an Emma and Tom's bar or drink they haven't perhaps seen before, they get it that it's going to be real, great tasting, natural, no added sugar, minimally processed. And that's all now taken on board after sort of, I suppose, a 12 plus years of brand build. My
next question is, what lessons are you learning as you continue to go through expansion?
We continually learn that, it's competitive. It's probably more competitive. That's just not our sector. I think the whole market's more competitive. It's got to taste fantastic. You can't sell a drink or a bar that doesn't taste fantastic. And the more we do ourselves, the better we do. We find, you think, I've got a problem, I'll find an expert to help us. But, all problems are solvable, and the more you do yourself, the better you do, and you fully understand it. That's been one of our great takeaways.
Well, my final question for you is, outside of being a company director, you're now building a name for yourself as a keynote speaker. How did this come about, and what topics do you speak on?
We went into the corporate speaking purely as a PR aim. The aim was to, I suppose, spread the brand love. And as it's evolved, I suppose we've had to make obviously the talk our own. You can't. It takes quite a while to actually develop a solid keynote. So what we talk about now, and hopefully sort of pass on our learning, so we make sure we don't tell people what to do, we just tell them what we've done. We discuss business partnerships. Obviously, it's quite a unique thing about Emma and my business and our relationship, and the fact that we're not married. We each have our own partners. Taking things from a fresh perspective, you'll note that our bottle hasn't got sort of a label with oranges cut in half and juice dripping off them. We've just a whole new approach to branded drinks. The importance of vision and planning, our business's culture and the belief and integrity and values that we hold. We do a piece on failure, which is obviously not very fashionable these days, but, let's talk about it. We talk about disruption and relationships and what is real wealth. We talk about our cause, our foundation we have is the Cotton On Group called the Unite Project, which raises quite a lot of funds now for to alleviate youth homelessness in Australia, and then our future vision. So hopefully it's sort of 45 minutes of good information and learnings that help people with their own businesses.
That's all I have for you today, Tom. Thank you very much for taking time out of your schedule to join us today.
Thank you, Stuart, very much.
This has been a production of the Australian Business Executive, a division of Romulus Rising Proprietary Limited. All rights reserved. You can stay up to date with the Australian Business Executive and our magazines, videos and podcasts by visiting www.theabe.tv and clicking on subscribe.